think 99% of the world are walking around basically in response to a pattern that they have running around inside their body. The vibration of the earth and the planet and the energies that are floating around, and the veil between humanity and separation and oneness is really, really thinning out. It's a lot easier to connect now. Sorry, I just had to pick my dog up. It's a lot easier to connect right now. It's a lot easier to surrender to the universe. It's a lot easier to find a space of oneness. At least it's a lot easier for me. And I know for a number of people that surround me, I've been having conversations with them and they've all shared the same thing. It seems to be a lot easier now than what it was when we all first started 15, 20 years ago of doing this kind of work on ourselves. Once you accept that it is a pattern that is creating the response, then all of a sudden you have the power to do something about it. You have the power to see that there's a pattern. You have the power to change it. You have the power to surrender it. You have the power to hold space for it. You have the power to sit and appreciate it. You have the power to hate it. You have choices. But if you do not realize that the experience that you're having is caused by a pattern and you think you are simply the victim of a bad experience, then you're always going to have that level of disempowerment and lack of control. Because whenever we do not, sorry, my dog is getting all caught up in the wires and she's moving everything. When we do not have that realization that we created this, then you have no power to change it. And it takes a lot. It took me a lot to come to this space where I actually accepted that I was creating my reality. I still have to come to massive levels of acceptance that I am the one that is creating this reality for myself. I'll just move my hair. I'm all a bit disheveled. We literally just got home and I came in and I thought, I want to record this video. And then my daughter did my hair this morning. And I've got a cat who's in here with me and I've got a dog who's in here with me and it's all a bit crazy. That's okay. And that's what I mean, right? I'm surrounded by this environment that I don't necessarily want to be in. I would love to be in a room that has perfect lighting and that doesn't have animals in it with me because they're always climbing on me. I now have a cat that's walked up to say hello. They're always climbing on me. They always need something. But it was my pattern that put us in this situation in the first place. So when you realize that, and when you sit into a space of acceptance that that is a fact, your pattern put you where you are, and then you go through the process of surrendering that pattern up to the universe, then all of a sudden you're creating space for something new. You're creating space for a new awareness. It kind of depends on which pathway you want to go down. You can replace that pattern with a belief, essentially another pattern, or you can ask the universe to replace it for you which is what I do. I ask the universe to replace the pattern with a truth. Once I surrender the pattern up, I'm asking the universe to replace it with the truth. So there was a time where having the dog walking on me and having the cat coming in, it would trigger something inside of me. Now it's like, oh, well, whatever. It just is what it is. So when you start releasing and surrendering the patterns and you replace that space with the truth, then the things that you experience no longer trigger you. As I said to this client yesterday when I was having a conversation with her, I shared that as I was having a conversation with her, I was actually in that moment right now experiencing the conversation with her. And that there was a time not that long ago, if I was in conversation with someone, I would be getting triggered and I would have, you know how when you're having a conversation with someone, the voice in your head is trying to finish the sentence of what they're saying, or you're thinking of what you want to say in response to what they've just said. And so your brain is just constantly ticking over while they're talking and you're listening, but not really listening because your brain is kind of trying to control the conversation in your head as well as what's going on in the outside world. So I used to do that a lot. Now, when I'm in conversation with someone, I do not have a reaction in my brain. What I have is silence, and I stand there and I listen. And then I have a minute or a moment to respond or react if I'm triggered. But as I said to her, what I'm trying to do now and what I'm working at doing now is if I'm in conversation with someone and something happens and I get triggered, then I am, while listening to what they're saying, going through my process of surrendering that pattern to the universe, knowing that it's a pattern, knowing that it's not them, it's a pattern. And what I have found really interesting for me is accepting that and also owning, and it took a bit to humble myself into really owning this, that the external world is basically there because of how I feel on the internal world. And not only that, but also that I was using the external world to try and manage my internal world. So I was using people as distractions, or I was using people as avoidance, or I was manipulating people to calm down patterns inside of me. A pattern would come up and it needed something, and it's like passive manipulation. It would kind of very passively manipulate the person into doing what I wanted them to do, knowing that they probably did not want to do it. But I knew my brain knew what it needed to say to get that person to do the thing that I wanted them to do, because that's how I've been trained. I've been trained from childhood to use passive manipulation tactics. And it's kind of similar to passive aggressiveness, but it's not aggression, it's manipulation. And it took a bit for me to actually go, yeah, okay, that's exactly what I'm doing. And I need to stop. I need to stop manipulating people to get what I want. I need to either ask directly or not ask at all. And if I do not ask at all, then why not? What pattern is coming up for me? What story do I have that is coming up that's making me not want to ask that person for help, or ask them for support, or ask them to do something for me? So when you start to really get, like really, really, really get that every choice that you are making is based on a pattern at the moment. Unless you've already done all the pattern work and you're not, and you're hearing oneness and you're completely connected and you're never triggered by anything, or if you are triggered by something, you deal with it inside yourself in the moment, or you put it aside and then you deal with that trigger later, knowing that it's not the person in front of you that's causing that reaction. It's actually something inside of you that's causing that reaction. If you're there, then you probably don't need me, really, or my videos. But for a lot of us, we're still in that space where it takes a bit to humble yourself into realizing that you're actually using people in the external world to calm down your internal world, or to feed your internal world, to feed the addiction that you have to your internal world. And when you really, really put it from the perspective of, yeah, okay, I used that person today. I needed a distraction. I called them and had a conversation with them. I didn't call them and have a conversation with them because I wanted to. I really called them and had a conversation with them because I needed to distract myself from whatever was going on inside. Or we use the TV, we use Netflix, we use social media, we use YouTube. We're using the external world to either feed or calm the internal world. And when you realize that's what you're actually doing, then all of a sudden you're in a space of power. Now you can create separation. You can create separation between you, the real you, the true you, and the you that is basically using the external world to calm the internal world. And it creates a totally different dynamic within yourself, because now all of a sudden you are in a space where you can choose. Now you get to choose, well, am I going to pick up my phone and get on Facebook, or am I going to deal with this pattern that's coming up? Am I going to pick up my phone and call someone, or am I going to deal with this pattern that is causing me to pick up my phone and talk to this person? When you do not realize and you do not accept or admit that's a pattern that is creating all of these actions for you, then you automatically pick up your phone and get on Facebook and don't know why. Or you automatically pick up the phone and call that person, but you don't actually know why. You just have a feeling, I need to call that person. I need to do this thing. But it's all patterns, and it's all being fed by patterns. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.